you for your participation. Now I will give the floor to Dolores, the Director of Any Solution and also the coordinator of Deploytour, who will give an overview of the project. Dolores, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Olga. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this fourth meeting in which we are generating these synergies and we are generating this webinar series with the different data spaces. So what it's important for us is to mention that tourism, we consider tourism as very transversal activities. So if we want that allow through the data spaces that data will flow in the tourism sector, we cannot do it alone. And what we want also is to generate these synergies with other data spaces in which we can get a lot of similarities, complementarities in the activities that we are implementing. This is the fourth webinar. So we had already this webinar with the cultural heritage data space, with the smart cities and communities, with the mobility data space. We try every 2-3 months to have a webinar. So we have some more ahead us. So what is important also is to generate how can we collaborating together. So I'm going to make a very short presentation about what is the project about. So we are in the deployment phase of the Common European Tourism Data Space. We come from a previous coordination and support actions. In this deployment is around 60 million euros with 43 entities representing 13 member states. It's a big project in which we have tried to generate these balances between the different entities participating in the tourism ecosystem, but not only, because we have already other data spaces as the cultural heritage that are official members, official partners of this consortia. What is very important for us is to have clear objectives. So we are in a deployment project, so we are going to develop this Common European Tourism Data Space. It's very important to foster innovation. We are working in a very complex ecosystem with a huge amount of different entities participating in the tourism sector and directly in other sectors that affect tourism. We are part of the European data strategy, so to strengthen the EU digital sovereignty with the European tourism values, interoperability, data sovereignty that are our principles, and also to boost this competitiveness and sustainability, taking into account SMEs. So in the business ecosystem in the tourism sector, 95% of the companies are SMEs, even micro SMEs. So we really want to contribute and help them to work and to make to learn what are the benefits of a data space and also the different DMOs. The landscape is very complex, and I think here we will have also our colleagues of the Language Data Space. So we have a lot of initiatives going on at the same time at different levels. So I think it's important to understand the context in order to generate good alignments. We are in the first year of implementation of the project. The project will run for 3 years. We are in this part in which we have already produced the rulebook. It's a public document that can be downloaded from our website, and we are now in the pilot phase implementation. So I will present at the end the 5 use cases in which we are going to work, and for our governance. Once the rulebook is defined, we are now working to define the rulebook and also to ensure this interoperability, transversality, and synergies. We are now developing this high-level roadmap. We have been defining which are the technical requirements. We have been identifying which are the data sets, the data products offerings at the level of each pilot. And also we are having a lot of discussions, and perhaps here also with our colleagues of the Language Data Space, to identify which are the data spaces components that we are going to share. We are discussing about connectors. We are with the technological stack. We are now in a very interesting moment in which we really need to learn from the experience of the others and also to build a common European tourism data space in which the different actors can work together with us. So we are in this part of taking all these technical requirements. We have already in the phase 2, we have identified all the data products offering, and we are now analyzing them in order to identify all the requirements and capabilities of the partners. what we want is to produce this minimum viable data space in order that all this onboarding is very clear for all the participants. We will generate this data catalog in which all the datasets will be available. What is very important for us is to identify all the data set that exists, so data discoverability, and then to generate a framework in which data will be exchanged in a smooth way. And we cannot do it if we don't establish clear rules. So we all are going to exchange data, to share data. So we all need to know which are the rules we have to follow. So we have to define a very clear governance aspects at all levels, from the level of the ecosystem, the data space, the use case, and also the level of the participants. Because as a data space, having this complexity with the different users, we have to allow any entity interested in the data space to onboard in our data space. But also, you know that, and this is something that the language data space data space can help us. We have a very big challenge with semantic interoperability. So I think this is something that is going to be crucial for allowing us to share data. This is the structure of the rulebook. What we have done is to go a little bit further, not only defining the normal data provider, service provider, data consumer, but we really wanted to reach all the deep detail of all single actors that participate in a data space. This is just the structure, but you can find it in the full document that is available in our website. As I mentioned, transversality, complementarity, and synergies is crucial. So we are mapping all the data spaces initiatives. So this is an activity that is ongoing and it's open. We are also generating synergies with other EU projects, initiatives that are running at European, but also national, regional level. So what we don't want is to reinvent the wheel, but at the same time to generate something that allow that data sharing among the different actors. At the end, we see this data space as a tool, first to raise awareness, because we are in this bubble in which all of us are using data space, but sometimes we really need to continue working with that. Everybody has the same concept when we are discussing about data spaces. Improve the availability and discoverability of data. Of course, if we don't know which data is available and which are the conditions to share the data, we are not going to be able to share this data. Enhancing interoperability and semantic also at a structural level, and also to generate this governance and to show with real examples how it works. And the best way to show how it works is to have different pilots. Our pilots are spread very well all over Europe, and all of them are tackling different challenges that are happening in the tourism industry. We have this one that is in the Alpine regions, which is a cross-border pilot between Slovenia and Austria. We have another one in the corridor of the Canary Islands, Andalusia, and the Balearic Islands, in which we are going to help two destinations, and also with working a lot with the private sector. In the area of Paris, we are going to develop, or we are already developing a pilot in the maize industry. And in the Greek island of Syros Islands, we are developing a pilot which is very linked with the cultural heritage for tourism diversification. And as mentioned, SMEs are crucial, a very important part. So we have a dedicated pilot only to empower SMEs in tourism, to teach them on how to use the data spaces, but also aware them about which are the benefits of participating in a data space. All the information is here. We are available for any question that you have, and thank you so much for your time.
You're muted, Ola.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dolores, for this presentation. And now, I'm sorry. Now it's time to learn a bit more about the language data space. So Mr. George Brown, the coordinator of the language data space, will give us a presentation of the data space. Please, you have the floor.
Thanks very much. I just need to rearrange my windows. This is better. Right, so I'll keep it equally short. First of all, thanks for the invitation. Happy to be here with all of you. And this is a very condensed version of the usual slide deck that we usually use in similar presentations. I think the idea was to stick to about 10 minutes, and I will try to do that. I have some more slides and demos also on the back burner. If we need them, we can easily present them. So the Common European Language Data Space, what is it all about? This is just a simple fact sheet regarding the project. This is a procurement project, which is quite crucial regarding the whole project setup. Yeah, so we are not so much use case focused, rather than focused on building the general technical infrastructure plus governance structure plus promotion, dissemination of the project. And this is due to the fact that the call for tenders that we responded to didn't really focus use cases, because maybe it's because our case in the language data space is actually quite simple. Yeah, so it's about exchanging language data from a data provider to a data consumer. More on this in a minute. The budget of the project is 8 million euros. We have a runtime of 4 years. Recently, the project was extended by a year by the European Commission, which was already built in the original contract. The objective of the project is to develop and deploy a trustworthy and secure European infrastructure and marketplace for the collection, creation, sharing, and reuse of multilingual and multimodal language data. What is language data? Text, typically. Yeah, text data in any flavor, length, format, what have you. Yeah, any type of language data will do. Could also be audio data, could also be video data. For example, from public broadcasters, could be transcriptions of programs, could be radio programs, plus transcriptions, and so on and so forth. Any type of data that is that includes language is welcome in the language data space. LDS is a marketplace for all organizations, commercial and public, but we have a clear focus on industry. We have a help desk structure so that those with technical issues, technical questions can approach us for technical questions, for legal questions. We also have a business development help desk that can help with this, meaning with monetizing language data. Excuse me. As mentioned, we are primarily focusing industry, also research. I will tell you, or I can briefly mention this in a short footnote. There are many research repositories, research infrastructures around Europe, also around the world, that also include language data or corpora. Yeah, so in the 90s and aughts, we usually talked about corpora. These days with AI, we talk about language data, sometimes also about language resources. If they are from research projects, we typically know where they are. It's a limited number of repositories. We developed even some of them. Some of them are listed in the bottom right corner on the slide here. So we know them. Yeah, we know where the research data is. We don't know where the industry data is, or at least we have a hunch. We have a hunch where the industry data is. The key question is now to unlock, to open up industry data. Yeah, so there are so many treasure chests around Europe with interesting data from industry that could really make a difference when it comes to AI development. And this is what we are aiming at here. Our consortium includes a small number of organizations, not quite, what did you have, 42? Yeah, we have more like 4, plus a few subcontractors. So DFKI, the German Research Center for Artificial Intelligence, is leading the consortium. And then our friends at the Research Center Athena, Institute for Language and Speech Processing. And I think I've seen some names in the list of participants today from there, are primarily working on the technical infrastructure. Our colleagues from ELDA same comment. Yeah, so there's at least one person from ELDA in the call. From the Evaluations and Language Resources Distribution Agency is also here with us today, working primarily on the governance structure, and the Latvian company 𝐝𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐻 is working on our proof of deployment concept projects. And we have a number of subcontractors who help us with various things. So this is the key technical diagram that we can use to explain a number of important things. First of all, the LDS infrastructure is meant to be trustworthy. Yeah, so it's also meant to be secure. There are certain principles according to what a data space should look like, how it's supposed to work. One of these principles is decentralization. Our infrastructure is pretty much fully decentralized with one or few exceptions. So on this slide, you can see 4 participants in the language data space in the 4 corners of the slide, A, B, C, D. Yeah, these are maybe data providers or data consumers, or maybe both. In order to participate in the language data space, you need to, of course, apply for membership or apply for participation. And then there's a vetting process that includes us as the project consortium, also the European Commission, who examine and analyze everything, every single application for membership. And then we decide, or the Commission decides, if a membership is granted or not. In that case, an organization is included in the registry of participants. This is a centralized component. It's essentially just a database with a UI that includes all our participants, and we can map participants to their own LDS connector. The LDS connector is a piece of software, the data space connector built on EDC, that ILSP is developing. And this connector, once you've applied for membership, once you've installed the connector, once you included your own authentication token in the connector installation, then you have your own little piece of software that enables you to access the language data space and to do exactly what was explained in the previous presentation, so that you can provide data offerings, you can discover them, you can initiate data transfers, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so this is a standalone piece of software that is decentralized. It runs on-prem in the data centers here of these 4 organizations, A, B, C, and D. And once there is data transfer, this is happening in a peer-to-peer fashion from, let's say, A to D. Yeah, so that's about it. There's one additional central component, and that is a publicly visible, a public-facing catalog of everything that is available in the language data space. Yeah, small footnote: as a data provider, you can specify if you want to make a certain data set publicly visible or not. So those who tick the box, yeah, so for these data offerings, these are shown on the public-facing LDS catalog. You can go there even now at languagedataspace.eu and check out what there is in stock. But here we don't say which offer is by which participant. Yeah, so this is a classic honeypot scenario, which is meant to attract participants of the language data space. If you want to get access to these, you need to join first. So this is to act as a honeypot, as I said, to attract new users, to convert interested users in actual users who then join. This is the main idea. This is all working. Yeah, so we have a working infrastructure, version 2.0.0 beta. The next iteration will be in January, if I'm not mistaken, with more bug fixes and so on. And then we can additionally grow the level or the user base of LDS next year. So why are we doing this? What is the main goal here? It's of course AI, artificial intelligence, and large language models, which are by far the most disruptive breakthrough in AI research in recent history, probably ever. They are trained on vast amounts of text data, perhaps also image data, video data, audio data, as mentioned. And then we can even train language models with all of these different data modalities together and then we arrive at multimodal models. In Europe, we have multilingualism. We have many different languages, 24 official EU languages that make everything much, much harder due to a severe data imbalance. More on this on the next slide. But we still have unprecedented economic opportunities. You can see the numbers on the slide here, about $500 billion by 2031 in the natural language processing market, or maybe up to $1.3 trillion by 2032 in the global Gen AI market. So this is all great, but Europe needs to participate in this market. Otherwise, we have a severe issue. And one of the key issues is globally that all of these different AI companies are running out of training data. So the well is running dry. Yeah, the well of data is running dry, and we need to make data available, not only because the well is running dry, but because our European languages are very much under-resourced. And if Europe really wants to make a difference in global AI development and research and spin-off startup company generation and producing unicorns, then we need to free up new data and open up new data. Yeah, so and if we do this, concentrated on Europe, yeah, European data for European companies, that would be a game changer. And this is what our ambition is. So here you can see just very quickly a graph that shows the technology support of our languages. Ordered from most supported language to least supported language. As you can see, that's no surprise. English is by far the most supported language. And then we have our trio here of German, Spanish, and French. About half as supported as English. And then there's a long tail of many, many other languages that are very much under-resourced. This is an issue. When you compare this with more recent numbers, the gap is getting bigger instead of smaller. So these are problems, as also mentioned in the previous presentation. There are many European initiatives for the development of AI and for the development of LLMs. We have research projects in every country. We have companies in many countries working on this. We have EU-funded projects working on high-performance language technology, HPLT, for example. We have the ALT-EDIC as a new pan-European initiative to coordinate amongst all of these different projects. We have bigger EU initiatives, AI factories, gigafactories, Euro HPC, Continent Plan, Apply AI Plan, probably more plans even. This is all great, but still we have challenges. Yeah, so we have a lack of HPC facilities. Also, ease of use is not that high. The speed of the big tech players in the US and Asia is very, very fast. They can pump out product after product, whereas Europe is a bit slower. And as mentioned, the most crucial bottleneck by far is the availability of data for all European languages. This is something that we really need to work on. And this is happening in the Common European Language Data Space, which is one of the official EU data space projects with a strong focus on industry. So this is an overview slide that I stole from a colleague from Bitkom, top right corner. It's our language data space. Also in the top right corner, the tourism data space. So we are in a close neighborhood, at least on this slide here. We can talk about synergies in a minute. Just to give you an idea, what kind of data products are being traded outside LDS currently. Yeah, companies like Google, Apple, OpenAI, and others, they are paying up to $50–60 million per year for a single data license. Yeah, for example, Google is paying $60 million per year to Reddit for the complete Reddit data on an annual basis. What else? Apple has standing offers for very large data sets in the region of $50 million and so on. So these are insane numbers. Yeah, they are very, very high. And what we want to do is we want to establish the language data space, maybe not reaching these numbers, which are blue sky scenarios, but we want to establish the language data space as the marketplace for European language data. So wrapping up, the project is in full swing, just extended by another year. So we will run until January 27. All the different strands in the project are running very smoothly: technical development, promotion, dissemination, governance development, and so on. We are now testing the connector 2.0 beta version, including improved metadata models and so on. We can talk about it in a minute. And we have quite a few collaborations and two key goals, and then I want to finish. First of all, we want to increase the adoption of LDS by industry. Yeah, so we need to grow the LDS user group so that more and more users join the user group. And the key long-term goal is to identify and make available new, fresh, interesting, novel, relevant language data from industry covering all European languages and modalities. And that's it from me for now. Thanks very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this very, very interesting presentation. Now it's turn of one of our technical partners, who is José Américo Río, who will talk about language models and tourism, because as you said before, we are close friends and close neighbors. José Américo, you have the floor, please.
Hello, I'm going to share the screen then. So can you see it?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, so I'm making the presentation Bridging the Language and Tourism Data Spaces. I'm Américo Rio from Nova MS University, the new University of Lisbon. I at the company, and I also teach web development, mobile databases with data, so AI and ML also, and I'm also investigating the LLMs problem, the lack of data that you talked about. So the presentation is why language matters in tourism and how cooperation between data spaces can transform it. So I prepared a little introduction also about Deploytour, but if you see something repeated, I will talk about other things. So this is the European Data Spaces vision. There is a lot of data spaces already, and we're going to data spaces are federated infrastructures where data is shared securely. So the data should be in the premises of the sharers. And this doesn't work so much in the small enterprises. We'll talk about that. We will talk about the language data spaces and the tourism data spaces. So about Deploytour, implements the European Tourism Data Space, and it was based on dates and the SFT, and it's an ecosystem, not a database, so promoting interoperability and governance for tourism data. So currently we work in the technical implementation. We will have more than one connector type. We'll agree on that. There is one that is the simple one that is still under development. We have 5 pilots, as we talked about. So in the right side, I don't have to present them anymore. So we will have some data types: accommodation, mobility, events, points of interest, weather and sustainability, restaurants and local businesses, and also some mobility, reviews, and analytics. The destination will be for big and small stakeholders, so destination management organizations, SMEs, national boards, researchers, etc. So we aim to be the foundation of smart data-driven tourism in Europe. So we also, in this set, when building, we also take care of data quality and common metadata aspects. And the data will be structured data, no structured data, a lot of data in between. When we first have our point of entry, we will have data sets, services, APIs, then you can visualize, browse, and we also have the integration with logon systems. The navigation will be based by search, filters. You can have views, list, grid, and a map view, and you can see the details on the data set of data service. And we will have a multilingual toggle that I put here on blue. So language, it's everywhere on tourism. Okay, so language shapes every travel experience. Before the trip, you will see the destination search, you booking, marketing. So sometimes the terms are really different, That's why this problem it's even bigger. During the trip, you see the signage, guides, menus, chatbots, augmented reality translations. So sometimes you don't know, even if you are in a transportation and you see a sign in a different language that you don't know, you have to ask somebody. After the trip, you get the reviews, feedback, sharing experience. Some of the reviews you can translate, of course, but sometimes you don't have the right terms. So when you do a search when you search for Art Museum of Lisbon, you should match Museu Nacional de Arte Antiga, which is in Portuguese, and sometimes the translation is not very good. So we can say that language connects people and culture, and that's the bridge that makes travel meaningful. So as for challenges, opportunities, so we have the problem of fragmented translations, minority language gaps. So we have manual localization costs. With the beginning of the automatic translation, this problem is different because now you start by making automatic translation, but then you always have to review the translation. Hard multilingual data integration, and you have a lot of opportunities. As the previous presenter said, we have the AI translation and NLP for natural language processing for scalable content. We have shared vocabularies for harmonized data, so sometimes the words are very different. We should have these vocabularies and semantics the same. We have voice chat interfaces for accessibility. This is also an opportunity. And we have the language data space integration for quality and provenance. I give an example about that next. So we can say that tourism, it's really a natural testbed for language technology, where multilingual innovation meets the cultural experience. So why the data spaces should collaborate? So tourism needs language, and of course, language needs tourism. Tourism data, it's multilingual by nature. Language resources provide the translation and the semantics, and the tourism offers real content for the improvement of the language models. So this cooperation can make the tourism data from Europe multilingual, discoverable, and inclusive. So how the language data space benefits from tourism data? So I searched for a few examples, but this is not exhaustive. So tourism provides multi-language real-world data enriching the language data space. So we have reviews and descriptions. We think this will contribute a lot because reviews are growing each day, and they will be authentic, informal tests, but these terms, they're always changing. Okay, from year to year, new terms arrive. And so we have these reviews and history from places, venue, city, transportation, in the form of description, history of the places. When people book places, they will go to the history of the city and the hotel and others. Points of interest, metadata, so new names and new cultural terms. Official translations also would be a parallel corpora. And of course, speech and media outside the written, so and it's automatic speech recognition and text-to-speech. So tourism really offers the living corpus the language data space needs. The opposite, how the tourism data space benefits from the language data space. So the language data space empowers Deploytour with advanced language tools. Of course, we need this language. So we would like the automatic translation for the consistent multi-language data to have the same terms or at least similar terms everywhere. Voice and speech services for guides and apps. Shared vocabularies for harmonized metadata, and cross-language search, the example for inclusivity. So more advanced uses. We would see sentiment analysis in different languages and semantic clustering. That means try to group things even from different language. Okay, this is a difficult problem sometimes. Provenance tracking. as an example, metadata translated automatically by tools from the language data space, but after they reviewed by a human editor, and then they approved in some date. So we will have that attached to the metadata for the provenance tracking. And translation memory reuse, which is the database. So thank you very much. And I hope we shared some things about the way of working together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we go back to George again, who will present the current use case scenarios being implemented after the launch of Language Data Space Beta Software version 2.0.0. Please, George, you have the floor.
Yeah, there's not much I can present except for showing you maybe the demos that we have. Yeah, because as mentioned in my presentation, we are not focusing on use cases. This is unusual. I know typically EU projects have 5, 7, 9, 10 use case scenarios, which they then use to develop their stuff. In our case, it's a bit different because there's only one use case. Yeah, and that use case is to transfer data from A to B. That's it. Yeah, so generally speaking, we have, let's say, a publishing house. Yeah, I don't want to name any examples. We have a publishing house with lots of data, let's say 50,000 books in a couple of languages. It's all nicely described with metadata. It's zipped up as a zip file, and there's a AI company that says, okay, we want to develop a language model for this or that purpose, and we just discovered this book data set. It's great, it fits our needs, and we want to get access. Yeah, access is being negotiated, and then the file is transferred, and that's it. This is what we do. Yeah, we don't provide any fancy services. We don't automatically translate anything. Yeah, our use case is data transfer, as a data space should do. Yeah, so, and this is something that we always paid very much attention to, that we don't overcomplicate things, that we don't over-engineer things, and that we stick to this specific case, transferring data from A to B in a trusted way, according to the principles of European data spaces, as codified especially by DSSC. Many of us are participating in DSSC working groups, so we are also contributing to the development of the DSSC blueprint. With Simple, it's a bit different. Yeah, we are not so much in regular touch with them, but we are monitoring to a certain extent what they do. So what I can show you is very briefly, and I guess I need to speed it up a little bit. I can show you these 3 demos that our colleagues in Athens produced. And these demos show the main functionalities. Yeah, and this very much corresponds to the slides shown initially at the beginning of the meeting. So what are the basic functionalities of the LDS infrastructure? You want to discover data offers or data products in this big distributed LDS catalog. Then, if there is something that fits the need, that ticks the box, you want to negotiate access to a data product, then maybe payment is included. Maybe it's free access. In that case, no payment is included. Yeah, so maybe payment needs to be done, and then an invoice needs to be generated for a data product. And then once that is done and concluded, data can be transferred. Then I have another video for the process of providing a data product, and then a third video on how to apply to become a participant in the language data space marketplace. This is maybe not so relevant right now. As you can see, that's about 6 minutes in total. I will just start with the first video. There's an audio track that explains everything. Yeah, maybe we have the time. Yeah, so if time is an issue, then I can speed up a little bit.
Does the video have sound?
It does. Just a second. So I guess I need to share sound. Okay, yes, I do. It's always the same. I don't understand why this isn't default.
No, it's okay. Don't worry.
I will it's just annoying. It's just an annoying feature. It's not default in Teams, and it's not default in Zoom either.
Those
it should be default. So
on the other hand, if we can open the roundtable part, so it's time for those who would like to ask a question or simply make a comment or an observation. Please feel free to raise your hands and participate. If you don't want to talk, you can write your questions in the chat too.
I can briefly scroll through the video maybe. So maybe like this. So this is the central catalog. So you can go to this URL here, languagedataSpace.eu/catalog, where you can see the language data space assets that are currently available. There's sophisticated search. You can search for various different things. There's also faceted search. That's all great. You can then check a corpus here, the Eventi corpus that someone built for the Italian language a while ago, and then you can try to access this offer in the participant registry that we have. This is our central component. Let's say you are already a participant in the language data space. This is now a view of your own LDS catalog, or not, rather the own LDS connector, and then you can list all the different catalogs that are available, and then you can build the overall catalog, which is the full LDS catalog. You can search it, and then you can negotiate access to the Eventi corpus, but only once you are within the ecosystem. The language data space catalog that is publicly facing or public facing only is a honeypot scenario, and then you can transfer the data set to your own machine, to your own storage. That could also be S3 compatible, and then eventually if payment is included, then we can generate invoices. We also already have the code ready to actually do payment with an external payment provider. This is also not rocket science, can be easily implemented these days. And this is how to transfer, negotiate, invoice language data sets in LDS. And this is the complementary demo that explains in 4 minutes how to provide data products that usually including metadata, rich semantic metadata, so that other people can find your data offerings. So not so much huge use cases, but rather general basic functionalities that everybody needs in our data space.
Okay, perfect. We have one hand raised. Barbara, please.
Hi, thank you everybody for your great insights. I'm Italian. I've been living in Barcelona for about 19 years now, and I'm running a translation agency. As you know, one of the most affected industries. We specialize in tourism and stuff, so I'm very interested in the language data space. I joined the language data space interest group on LinkedIn, but I was wondering if I should join the European language data space, just to give my knowledge or anything I can do for your language data space. As an agency, we have been dealing with many languages, and we are professional linguists and translators. So just to ask you, how can we give you our support and our knowledge in this sector.
As you said, by joining us, yeah, you can join the LDS user group. You can apply for membership. Yeah, that's explained on the website also. But then there's a vetting process. Once that is concluded, I guess you have a European legal entity or a Spanish legal entity if you're based in Barcelona. Then there's not going to be any problems. You will then get access to the Language Data Space connector, which you can install and help us adjust the software to your needs and those needs of everybody else, yeah, so that everything fits the bill as best as possible.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Any other question, comment? No? Okay, I just wondering, is it necessary a specific technical expertise to install the LDS connector?
Well, it's a complex piece of software that we try to have ready for everybody in a most easy, efficient way. Nevertheless, there are some technical prerequisites, like you need the public-facing IP address and so on. You need a technical expert to do this, yes, but then it only takes about 30 minutes to install this. Yeah, so everybody, every company, I guess, has some kind of IT department or at least one person that takes care of this. And that person or that group, that unit, can usually install this within 30 minutes.
Okay.
But if I may, well, thank you so much, George. I really like it, your presentation. And I think at the end of the day, we had already a meeting, and tourism and language are very well connected. So we are having a lot of discussions now at technical level. We can work together a little bit more, since I think you are more advanced. We are now defining the connectors, and which are the connectors, because as a common European data space, we really want to ensure interoperability. And we see a lot of discussions now with Simple, with 𝐝𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 perhaps are not of importance for the final user. So the user just wants to onboard there, go there, enter in a very simple way, as you explained with the video, and then to have access to this data and to know if this data is open or I have to pay for it, and that's all. I don't know how we can learn from your experience, make some simple the data space, the tourism data space, because now we are defining, and I think Americo is also aware of that, a lot of discussions on how this data flow is going to happen within the tourism ecosystem. We were discussing on how, for example, now with all the statistical data, meteorological data, all these open data portals that exist, how they should onboard in the tourism data space in a way that they appear in the catalogs, because sometimes it's also, and I think here, because also, for example, for the transport data, sometimes is in the local language of a specific country, and when you are looking for it, it's complicated. So I think we really need to check how can we work together in order to solve all these different complexities or challenges that we are facing, and perhaps you already solved them.
Yeah, our case is a lot less complex than yours, I guess. Yeah, you have multiple different data types, as also explained in the presentation just now. So you have many more requirements on your plate, technically, than us. With us, it's quite easy. Yeah? We can just simply ship zip files from A to B, and that's it. In terms of technical collaboration, yes, we can talk about it, but I also have to say that this is a procurement project. Yeah, right now our code is produced in a private GitHub repository where it all sits, and it's essentially the property of the European Commission because it's a procurement project. Yeah, so such collaborations we need to discuss with them first, and then we need to see if and how we can collaborate. Yeah, but we are open to discussions here, and we can talk about it, but we need to include the European Commission. So
Yes,
this is
thank you.
just a disclaimer. But yeah, so interoperability, everybody's talking about interoperability. They should have started talking about interoperability 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, it's a bit late because the general concept of a data space that was then finding traction in various projects and in various initiatives did not include interoperability. Now it does. Yeah, so and now it's landing on our feet. The problem is, and the key challenge is not technical from my point of view, it's more like organizational and maybe even legal interoperability, because we are building the language data space marketplace. It's going to be governed by a specific governance scheme. Participants in LDS are being vetted by us and by the European Commission. Then you become a member of the language data space, and then you can trade and exchange data in the language data space. Of course, it's then possible to include other catalogs, yeah, but then we need to say, okay, this data asset or so belongs to the tourism data space, and this one belongs to some other data space. But then how do you access this? Yeah, because these are members of a club that is called LDS. They are not members of the tourism data space club or the other data space club. So, and this is the key challenge, yeah, how to bridge membership in different organizations, essentially. Exchanging metadata from different catalogs, that's easy. Yeah, that can be done easily, and visualizing it nicely so that it's clear to the user, okay, this is an LDS asset, and this is a Deploytour asset, and this is a whatever media data space asset, and this is a Europeana asset. That's easy. Yeah, but accessing the data, the level of access, that's the key critical issue. And this is what we need to work on together with DSSC and Simple and the EC and other organizations.
Yeah, I agree completely, because sometimes we have this doubt why in our tenders or application forms or calls it was not already established, this interoperability by design in all the common European tourism data spaces. So we don't have now to solve challenges once the house has been already built, and we are in this process. But I think also we have a question from Marie about the who delivers the verifiable credentials for identity manager. So George, I think this is for you because Marie is partner in Deploytour. So
there's a question in the chat.
Yeah,
The chat is
I don't know
sorry.
if you can see the chat.
It's me. I think it's another Marie. There are 3 Marys in the call today, so it's another one.
Who delivers the verifiable credentials for identity management? Is the LDS infrastructure hosted by the Commission? It's not hosted by the Commission, but rather owned by the Commission. Yeah, so the setup is a number of servers. Right now, they sit in Athens primarily. We also have part of the system with the European Commission, but that's primarily the public-facing website of LDS, which is not really part of the technical infrastructure. The credentials are being, so the workflow is as follows. You apply for membership through a form that sits on a website that sits at ILSP right now. Yeah, it will eventually change, I assume, to some other organization. And one candidate organization is the ALT-EDIC, yeah, the Alliance for Language Technologies EDIC, which is headquartered in France. Then we get the application. Yeah, so, and this application is checked by us, by the project consortium, also by the European Commission. Then the European Commission says yes or no to the weekly set of candidate members. And then authentication tokens are being issued to those that are vetted positively by the European Commission and by us, and they are included by our technical team in the registry of participants. And then they can start with installing the connector. They get access to the software. They can configure everything. We can help if needed, and so on. I hope that explains the process. Yeah, and there may be changes in the future where everything, eventually the software will go to, most likely to the alt-edit. Yeah, so, and even then it's the question, will the software go to the alt-edit? Will only the processes go to the alt-edit? This remains to be discussed. Yeah, this is a topic for second half of next year.
Something?
Okay, we have another question in the chat related to legal organizational interoperability. Is there an LDS counseling service at some point to guide users, organizations in the best way to use data, products, and services?
We have a help desk, yes. We can help guide users or organizations to use data products and services, but I don't understand why this is related to legal or organizational interoperability.
I don't know, Mario, if you want to clarify your question.
Yeah, right now we are not really, I'm not saying that we're not paying attention to interoperability, we do. We are primarily focused with executing our contract and our procurement project. Interoperability is, as with you, not really a big topic in our contract. So we try to do what we can. And for sure, also with regard to AI factories and their own requirements for data spaces, there will be new requirements coming, and dynamically, I guess, next year, whenever that will be. So we try to take care of those.
Yeah. Hello, good
Yes.
Okay. I was relating this topic to interoperability, legal and organizational, because we were mentioning the governance schemes that the user should be stick to. So I did this link between governance schemes and legal organizational interoperability. So if we have to stick to some schemes, at the end, is there any? Yeah, you mentioned the help desk, but yeah, maybe a counseling service where we can an SME can decide where to go to a data product or a service, because sometimes they might need some guidance.
Okay. We don't provide specific guidance on individual assets in the language data space. Yeah,
Okay.
our approach is that the metadata record for each asset should be as exhaustive and descriptive enough so that everybody can understand what it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We have finished this webinar 1 minute later, so I think it's acceptable. Thank you so much for joining to this webinar. In the chat, you will have more information. You can follow us in LinkedIn. And in case you have any doubts, questions, or would you like to know more, you can contact us directly. That's all. And Dolores, I don't know if you want to say final bye.
Oh, just to thanks again to George and the team for this availability. So I think it's very important to learn from other experiences and to generate these connections. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much to all the participants. And we are organizing the next webinar with a new data space. So we will keep you posted. And thank you so much and have a nice day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank you.